All right, my friends, let's do this. Um, so in this video, I'm going to be making a reload animation for the battle rifle. I have tried to do this several times. However, various problems have thwarted my previous attempts. But this time we're going to be successful. So get yourself some sort of snack, or better yet, open up 3ds Max and follow along. I've included source files for this series so far in a download in this video's description. Um, so hopefully, if you're not that familiar with animation, you'll be able to learn a lot of stuff, and even if you are, hopefully I'll say a few intelligent things. Alright, let us begin. So, as you can see, I've got a new viewport setup thing going on here. Um, I don't know, I haven't really used anything other than the default 4 viewports, but thought maybe I would change it up a little. And also, I was getting some frame rate problems earlier, and I don't want that. Okay, so let's begin. We'll select everything, make sure we've got our base keyframes at frame 0, because those would probably be good to have. And we'll select the frame gun, and maybe we will be able to get some sort of decent magazine outpose. Maybe. Maybe not. Let me get this hand out of the way for the moment. I should probably move it out and more to the side there, and then it can come up so we can get a nice view of the magazine there. And now we just have to fix that clipping problem, which is admittedly a very big problem at the moment. Maybe I can fix it by messing with the IK. I've done so many versions of this video that I honestly don't remember what I have and have not said, but if you don't already, start playing with the swivel angle property in your IK. It gives you a really nice dimension, I guess, of control that you otherwise wouldn't have, and it's really useful for fixing things that don't look right, or just for making things look better. I don't know. Definitely start playing with that if you don't already. Alright, so we've got our magazine out pose. Maybe I'll move this a little bit lower down. Yeah, that's good. But of course, the transition to that is not a transition at all. So let's perhaps fix that. I think I'll move this out to maybe frame 13, and then I'll copy the base keyframe, and I'll split these up here. Didn't mean to do that, just want to get rid of the whole position. And we'll get rid of the rotation, so the gun will sort of move down. It's also going to rotate down into the side. And I also want there to be like a sort of bounce thing happening when it comes up here. I don't want it to just be, like it comes up. That's very boring. So once again, I'm going to split things apart. I think the rotation should maybe come first. Or maybe position should go first, I don't know. Yeah, because now it's like it can come up, and the gun is still rotating, and now it can come down a little for that bounce I was talking about. And let's see. It's a little too robotic there. There's no real rotation happening during these keyframes, so I'm going to add a little something. Probably should take off angle snap there, because doing stuff in increments of 5 degrees when you're just trying to add subtle movement might not be the most productive or intelligent way to go about doing what you want to do. And just so I don't run into trouble later, I'm gonna have the hand controller start out already linked to the magazine, because there's nothing that it's really going to be doing before it gets there, if that makes sense. And so it's also going to hold on to the gun for a few frames, just 2 extra frames there before letting go. And I think around here is when it's going to start coming up. Maybe it should come up a little earlier. I don't know. We'll see how it looks. Well, obviously you're going to want to open up the fingers, because that's a sort of stupid pose right there. Go to local rotation there, so we can rotate the fingers around their local axes. I think in this particular rig I have the fingers set up so that they, or at least the tips of them, cannot rotate on any axis other than this one, because that would not make sense. But if you don't know how to do that, and just in general, if you want to have stuff move or rotate on its local axis, which you probably will want to have happen a lot, especially if you're doing stuff with guns, you don't, for example, you can also do this with position. You don't want the magazine to come out like that, because that looks weird. You want the magazine to come out like this. So if you don't know about that, now you know about it. Okay, I think the left hand should go down a little. It should disappear off screen. And now it's going to reappear and be going for the magazine there. And I think somewhere around here it's going to grab on. That's an interesting pose, actually. I've never had a magazine being gripped sort of sideways like that. I sort of like it, though. Let's see. So I can close the thumb like that. I should probably be in local again, just so I can see what I'm doing better. And should probably do something with the fingers, even though you can't really see them. Because maybe someone will be able to see them. I don't know. Maybe they'll turn their field of view up really high. And I don't want to be exposed for the lazy hack that I actually am. Alright. Fingers are now somewhat closed. I can maybe do some more with the tips there. Alright, so let's see. Comes up, the hand doesn't really move enough here. It's sort of like you can tell that its movement is being controlled by the gun, because it's moving in sync with the gun, and that shouldn't really happen. The hand is, in theory, supposed to be like its own independent entity. So let's see how we can fix that. Maybe we can have this happen a bit later and have the hand be out of view more. I think the problem is the hand comes up like here, but the gun is still rotate, or I guess it's not. It's rotating when the hand comes up, but then suddenly it's not, and the hand sort of loses this movement component, I guess, that's going into it. And it just looks unnatural. Maybe I'll link it to the world for here, but that's probably going to cause a lot of headaches later on when we tweak the beginning part of the animation, and I really don't want to have to deal with that. Best advice I ever got from a teacher: work smart, not hard. Don't want to work too hard here. If it's good enough, it's good enough. Maybe the hand could open up a bit more here. And yes, I know I've got another keyframe here. I'm gonna figure that out when I get to it. Okay. And that looks okay, except for the clipping that goes on right here. Maybe I'll add yet another keyframe. The problem with having so many keyframes right after each other, 1, 2, 3, is that your animations can end up looking very jittery. Generally, it's not such a good idea to have stuff that moves things around in a noticeable position so close together. Hopefully this won't look terrible. I don't like the thumb there. I don't know if it's closing too slowly or if it's closing too late. I also think the gun is definitely too static here. Like it's moving a little, but it's not really moving. It's like fake movement. I don't know what I'm saying. And so now the bounce is gone, and it's still moving, but it's slowing down, and like the vector of movement has sort of changed. I guess maybe it's like as a result of the hand grabbing onto the magazine. Let's see. Maybe that would work later, but I think we still sort of need a little bit of bounce. Let's go into the curve editor. This is a very good tool. I talk about it a lot in annotations and in my other narration videos. If you do not use this tool, please start using it. I'd say it's a fundamental part of being able to control your animations and control your end product. I don't really know why I changed the interpolation here, but we'll get into that later. That doesn't look good. Maybe the bounce could be more of a rotational thing, while the position keeps going in the general direction that it's going. And now it's sort of like the magazine is being tugged at. Let's see. Now the thumb, maybe I should reverse these keyframes actually, because the thumb seems to sort of be opening up there when it should probably be closing. But even that, I don't know. Now that bounce still doesn't really look that good. Maybe I'll just move this up closer. I could still have some bounce if I make the gun jerk up in that direction when the magazine gets pulled out. I guess let's see if we can make that happen. Alright, so we've got our two keyframes here that keep the magazine in place, and let's move it out. So like I said earlier, we're going to local position and just take it out like that. Wow. Yeah, okay, so the gun should definitely respond to the magazine being pulled out, because that's what guns do. Again, we're in local, still gonna have this be on local transformation, position, whatever, local movement. All right, just so it all stays on the same axis. All right, so now the magazine will just be completely out of the way. The hand will bring it down here out of the frame where it's going to sit for a while. It's probably a little bit too fast. And we're going to want some rotational response too. Let's see, does that look okay? No, it's still too static, and I think that maybe this is just a problem that happens when I record stuff, but you can probably tell the frame rate of the viewport is not exactly the best, and it's sort of hard to tell what exactly your animation looks like, because it's playing at, you know, some fraction of the frame rate that it's supposed to be playing at, which can cause problems. And the result is a lot of the animations that I've made while recording myself have turned out sort of static, like they don't move enough, or their movement just looks weird. Hopefully I can avoid that this time. Alright, so the gun will, I think it'll be pulled out just a little, and then it'll come back. And now the question is everything waiting too long? Like, between when the hand grabs the magazine and when the magazine comes out, we've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, around 7 frames before any serious movement happens. Let me see, maybe I'll bring that down a frame. I think I'll also give a little, I don't know, is that okay? Does that look alright? Yeah. Still battling with the clipping problems here. Clipping is not good, especially if it's noticeable there. We'll just come back to it. Okay, so now, like I said earlier, we're also going to see what we can do about putting the bounce of the gun by the mag out rather than over here when we originally planned it to be. It sort of looks weird there. And I will say sometimes your curves will look sort of weird. That might be an indication that something isn't quite right there, and if something doesn't look right there, that might be why. But sometimes curves are supposed to look weird. If you want to have some, whatever, snap to your animations, or if they have to pause in a certain area. And definitely do some, do some, I guess, research into how your animation works before you go, just deleting components there, because you can screw things up. And in this case, I don't know if that made it better or not. We'll worry about it later. Alright, so now we've got the magazine has come out. I think I'll do some last animation for the thumb. It's going to curl around so it's like actually gripping the magazine, not sort of just hovering there looking like it's gripping it. And I think I'm also going to play with the upper arm here, because that wrist thing that's going on there doesn't look so great. I think that's better. Alright, so let's give ourselves 30 more frames, and now we have to put the magazine back in. Alright. So, let's see. I'm not sure if this is going to work too well for a magazine in pose, and anyway, it's sort of lazy to reuse the same poses over again for both motions. So we're going to set the keyframes here for the entire arm so that nothing we do is going to screw up anything that happened before frame 30. And now at frame 30, I'm going to mess with the pose a little. Usually I do wait until the magazine is visible in the first-person view frame before I really commit to a magazine in hand pose, because of course that's where you're going to be seeing the magazine most of the time, and you want something to look good there. You don't really care if it looks good when the magazine is just floating off in space here. As for the fingers, they're good enough for now. Alright, so now let's go back to the gun. I think it's just gonna sort of hover a little, maybe not so much, because there's not really anything for the gun to be doing while the hand over there is doing whatever it's supposed to be doing. Let me swap these keyframes here. And okay, so now we're at frame 37, let's say around 45 arbitrarily. Let's pick that number. Let's say that's when the magazine's gonna go back in. Well, actually, I don't want to set a keyframe there. So let's say around 38 is when it starts being visible again. Alright. Whoa. It's way too close. And I guess it doesn't really matter. One thing, definitely be sure that there's enough time between when your hand goes off screen here and when it comes back on, because remember, theoretically, there should be enough time for the hand to let go of this magazine and put it in whatever imaginary magazine holder pouch thing is here and grab a new one out. So be sure that that's at least within the level of suspension of disbelief that comes with playing Halo. Try to make that at least somewhat of a possibility. And you can always, it's very easy to make things faster. I think it's substantially harder to stretch them out. And I don't know, maybe that's not true at all, but that's just what I have observed. And I can't say much more than what I have observed. So, let us continue. Alright, so we said at frame 45 is when the magazine's going to make contact with the gun. So we'll clone the default position there. But I think I'm going to get a little creative. I think the magazine's going to go in at a bit of an angle here. And then he's going to sort of twist it and snap it in. I guess there's going to be a little bit of a keyframe. Yeah, a few keyframes, rather, of pause here, with just a tiny bit of movement. Maybe that's too much. Anyway, yeah, so there's magazine's going to go in at a bit of an angle. Maybe that's too much of an angle. Then it's going to be snapped in. And okay. So how do we make the gun react to that? I'm not sure, but we can do our best. Alright, so again, split up the keyframes. That's what I do. I think I talked about that in an earlier video. I just find that it helps keep things flowing better. I don't know, I've seen some people who don't do it and their animations honestly seem fine, but I just noticed that my end products tend to be better when I split up position and rotation whenever I can. Okay. So, I guess the gun should move back because the magazine has made contact with it. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it should move forward, actually. And I'll get rid of that because we don't need it quite yet. Let's see. Definitely it should rotate back a little. I think that's a little too extreme. I'll go back to normal positioning just for this. And I guess the hand should also maybe open up a little. So let's set our hand keyframe there. And another thing, I just noticed this. Notice that the arm is, well, the hand rather, is sort of wiggling around here, even though it's supposed to be attached to the magazine. That is because the left upper arm has gone further than the IK chain will allow, and so if I move it like this, you can see I can move it all I want, and the hand is just going to be pulled away from the magazine. So what I want to do is move it a bit closer so that it can, you know, be where it is supposed to be. And indeed, it certainly looks a bit better here. At least I think it does. Okay. So the hand, I think, is going to open up because that seems to be right. I don't know. Maybe it's not. And the fingers, you're not going to see the fingers. Who am I kidding? Doesn't matter what the fingers do. As long as you can see them opening up here, I think we'll be fine. Alright. And now well, maybe it should happen a bit sooner. No, this is good enough. Okay. Alright, and so here I've got position and rotation at the same time, and I think it's actually working pretty well. I'm sort of going for, like I said, a sort of snappy movement here. Let's see. Mag out. Mag in. Maybe that's actually not working so well. I think the gun could maybe move a bit further out here, just to give it a bit more emphasis. And then how is it gonna, whatever, return from the response? That's too mechanical there. And so you see, it's like it's moving and rotating at the same time, and it just doesn't look very interesting, and that's why I usually try to split up my keyframes to avoid stuff like that, because it doesn't look good. So now it's like it's still moving even though the rotation is done. And alright, let me go give myself another 30 frames. And let's see what else we can do here. Maybe the hand can move a little, both just to make stuff look better and also because my arch nemesis, the clipping of the hand into the other hand, has reared its ugly head once again. Let me see. And now it's even worse. That should probably be like that. And now the thumb can open up. Get rid of that there. I feel like the hand should... It doesn't really look like the hand is capable of putting that much force onto the magazine with the position it has there. Let me see if this looks any better. Ugh, stupid finger. What are you even doing there? Except now the problem is the hand is just sort of sliding around. And it doesn't really look very natural. So maybe I'll get rid of that. I don't know. In any case, the hand can let go, and its fingers can be fixed from the horrible, horrible things that I have done to them. Okay, I'll just open the fingers up. And I'll also rotate the wrist so it's pointing a little more upwards. Now I've got problems here. That doesn't really look so even. Now the hand needs to stay there for longer, so I'll copy that keyframe there. Now it's moving away too quickly. Maybe it should come down and just sort of drift out of frame. Or maybe the gun should follow it. I don't know. It just sort of looks lame, and again, it looks really static. There's no significant movement going on. I think I'll make the movement a little bit more dramatic, even more dramatic. Maybe that's too much, because now here it's going to look silly. But I should also be transitioning to some sort of bolt pulling pose. So maybe I can work that, and that'll just hide all of my horrible horrible things go. Whoa! That is also horrible. Let's fix it immediately. Okay. So, as I was saying, let's see if we can get something in the way of a bolt pulling pose, and go from there. How should the gun be pointed? I guess it depends on how I want the bolt to be pulled, because I can have the hand sort of pull it like this way with the palm facing out, or I can have it grab from above, and then I would probably want something that's more facing that way. I guess it depends on what part of the hand I want to show everyone. I guess for the moment I'll go with that. And let's see, how does... That transition is not a transition at all. It's crap. And also, the arm is clipping there. So it's twice crap. Arm is still clipping. I think it's definitely coming down too fast. Let me look at the curve editor here. Why is it going down like that? Maybe it should be going up. Maybe. Except, I don't know, that looks okay slowly, but when you play it, it just sort of looks jittery. Jittery is really bad. Jittery is terrible. And I'm overextending the IK again. How silly of me. Well, I think I'll come back to that. I'll move the hand down, because earlier I was saying maybe I should mess with the position a little. I think maybe this will end up looking better. And I think it does. Except the way it comes out there. Again, you can sort of tell that it's still linked to the gun, and it just doesn't look correct. Now it's coming out too far to the side. Maybe I should see these both at the same time. I think part of the problem is like you can see the fingers aren't exactly in the best pose right there. Maybe if I close the others, it'll look a bit more interesting. That's actually something I have noticed a lot for whatever reason. If your fingers look boring or unnatural, if you just put them in this general arrangement with the thumb sort of open, with the index finger extended, and with the others just being progressively more closed, for some reason, that seems to count as interesting fingers. So, just a heads up there. If your fingers look boring, consider using the interesting finger pose. Alright. I guess I'll maybe move the hand so it's like getting ready to pull on the bolt. I know I'm putting off a lot of stuff, putting off, making good transitions and all that. I'm lazy, what can I tell you? Alright, that looks weird. I want to say it looks like it's too straight. The hand, there should be a little bit of difference between how the hand is pointing and how the arm is pointing. I don't know what I'm talking about, really. It's just a feeling I get. Okay, so now the hand will come like this to pull on the bolt. I don't really know how well this is going to work with the Halo 2 first-person hands, arms, whatever. Because I've never really done this before. And they say you shouldn't try something for the first time in front of other people. But here I am. So let's see. Let's see what we can do. I'll go back to full screen here. I think the fingers definitely are gonna need to close around the bolt pulling thing. I don't know if the end fingers need to close though, because they're not really doing anything. It's the end of the hand that's doing stuff. This is gonna look so weird, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe a bolt pull where the hand comes up from the top would be better. Because the fingers, pinky isn't even really touching the bolt there. Oh no, my hands, they've been messed up. I've got to clone the open keyframe. Oh, no wonder they look, yeah. That's always embarrassing when you're trying to fix something, and then it turns out you're fixing the wrong thing. It's never fun to realize that. You feel so stupid. Alright, so the fingers are going to open up in preparation for grabbing the bolt. That looks horrible. Like, really horrible. Another thing that makes your finger movements look more interesting, if you have your fingers open up not at the same time, but if this one opens up and then a frame, and then this one opens up and then a frame, and then that one, that also is pretty good at tricking people into thinking that your movements are actually interesting when they're not. Animation is pretty much one big, what's the word? Facade, I guess. It's trying to convince people that something is one way when it's really just masking everything, all the lies and trickery that's going on behind it. Alright, this, I don't know, I mean it could work, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do. Do guns even work this way? I don't know. I don't know how guns work. Alright, I think I have an idea. We can rotate the hand a bit back like that. This way, sort of, I guess it'll be less obvious that there's not very much actual gripping going on. And we can also close the fingers some more to further hide my lies. The lies of animation. Ooh. And the thumb should be, I guess, a bit more like that. Okay. And now I will link constrain the hand to the bolt. got the bolt, and I'll just go into local movement again, and the bolt will be pulled back. My God, who would have thought? Let me see, is that all the way back? It's close enough. Okay. However, the bolt will not be pulled back immediately. I think we're going to wait around 2 frames. And while the hand is sort of trying to pull back the bolt, it's going to sort of rotate. It's going to keep its grip, but it's going to rotate. So it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like the hand is using force. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. This is all very weird. And maybe that can happen a bit sooner. Alright, and then the hand is in fact going to now be linked back to the gun. If I can find the gun, I'll just find the gun in the list here. And it's going to keep moving back. And then the fingers are going to open up. I think this could happen a bit sooner. The bolt can move faster. And then the fingers are first going to sort of close. Let me set all my keyframes here just to be sure that I don't mess anything up. So first the fingers are going to sort of close together like they're trying to apply more force to the bolt. And so let me do my best to try and do that here. And then they're going to open up, or rather the back one, the back fingers at least, are going to open up like they're still sort of holding on to the bolt. And that would no, the finger is actually not yet broken, I think. Maybe it is. Maybe that would actually break a person's finger. I don't know. And so again, the fingers are just going to be progressively less opened up, because that's what counts as interesting. And I don't know, the thumb can do whatever. And in the meantime, the gun, well, first off, whoa, didn't mean to do that. First off, the gun is going to move forward, as a result, forward and down, like it's going to further accentuate the motion that is being applied to the bolt. So I guess that could go forward a bit more. I'll use local so it's all on the same axis, because we like that. Except maybe it should wait a little before that happens. I'll work my magic with splitting up keyframes. Maybe actually I don't need to split up keyframes. Maybe I just need to add a little bit of jiggle, some sort of j sound. And then the gun is just going to sort of move out like so, while the hand continues its glorious journey back to the head, whatever, in this direction. You know what I'm talking about, right? And then the fingers are going to finish opening up. Sort of like that. Does that look okay? Not really. The thumb is... I don't really know what the thumb is doing. Maybe that's okay. Maybe. And the right arm has long since given up trying to hold on to the actual grip, so let's relieve it there. let it do its job. Alright. Except, don't really like what's happening there. Let me go back into the curve editor. And so here on here it seems to be pretty good, but here it's like suddenly it moves a lot more than it probably should. I want it to be more smooth. And in Z position, also I sort of want it to be more smooth, so let's see. Let's go into View, and let's move it a bit more in this direction, because that's how it's actually moving. And even though you can't see it at the moment, I think the bolt is, it's going to stay put until the fingers can let go. And in fact, the finger should probably be rotated a bit more down at that point. Then the tip isn't really opening up there. The tip should definitely be open. And that's definitely a broken finger. We don't want that. Anyway, so around here, I guess the bolt should sort of start moving back. And by frame 78, actually, maybe we should make this 77. By now, the hand is off doing its own thing, so we can have the bolt return to its original position. Maybe it could do that a bit faster. Okay. Right, so, I think the gun probably moves a bit too far out there. We can have it come back, except now the hand is in our face. We don't want that. That's okay. Maybe not. I can keep the gun out there, and then it can slowly come back. Alright, but that's way off here. We don't care about it just yet. Alright, I think I'm gonna have this rotation happen a bit later. Now that the hand sort of moves a bit too far there. Yeah, so the rotation here, I think I'm gonna have it happen a bit later. I think when it was happening sooner, I don't know, somehow it didn't look right. I should also probably move the arm back so poor Master Chief's wrist doesn't break during this crazy maneuver. Maybe it's rotated a bit too much like that, and now we can have it be there. I don't know. Get rid of that. I guess I can bring it a bit closer, but again, I don't want the hand to be in your face, because that doesn't usually look very good. Maybe the gun is rotating in the wrong direction. Maybe it should rotate back. No, that doesn't look right. Maybe it should rotate down and then it can come back. comes down again, I don't know. Now we're getting into the return to origin area. So, I don't know, should I go forward with that? Why not? Okay, so we've got some sort of position rotation thing going on here. And the hand should move down and out and sort of rotate like so, so that it can grip the gun. And then the gun will move up and a little bit back so the hand can actually grip it. I think once again I will employ the interesting finger pose. Because why not? Whoa, that's not good. The dangers of the interesting finger pose. And of course the pinky got all bent out of shape there because it was bending weird to hold on to the bolt. And if anyone is wondering, yes, I have been somewhat inspired by the work of I Am Broke, Are You? I think he's a better animator than I am. He definitely has better ideas, and he seems to execute them better. He did a pretty decent video, and in fact a few decent videos, about the fundamentals of first-person animation. I suggest you check them out. I learned some things, and it also it was just cool to watch, you know. So definitely give his channel some sort of visit, and you'll probably come out with more knowledge than you have come out of this video, or you will come out of from this video. That's not proper English, is it? Oh well. Okay. So I'll give myself 10 more frames. Whoa, that's not right. Okay. And you know what? Maybe the interesting finger pose is not what we want. Maybe we just want the fingers to be opened. I think that actually makes a lot more sense. Okay. So fingers go open. Pinky is still sort of bent weirdly. Oh well. And the hand, I guess, should not rotate that much. I guess this is at a weird angle. That is also at a weird angle. Alright, now it is time to employ a trick that I recently discovered. I did not so much discover it as someone told it to me. I think it was Z Jenkins, who is a person. Basically, what I want is for the hand to be gripping the gun as it is in frame 0. However, if I clone that keyframe, the hand is not where it should be. Even though the arm is not restricting it at all, that's not how the hand should be. So how do you fix this? Well, before I used to move the gun to its original keyframe, and then I would copy and paste values down here, and that wasted a lot of time, and it was bad. So, rather than doing that, we're going to create a clone of the left wrist controller, and we'll call it left wrist controller grip, and we'll change the color so we can identify it, and we'll get rid of all the animation on that copy of the controller. And now, for the rest of eternity, there will be a controller thing. And actually, we'll link it to frame gun so it doesn't move at all. There will be a controller there that represents where the hand should be. And so now, when I want my hand to grip the gun, I can just go to Tools, Align. And so I'll go a few frames down, and I can align the actual controller with the old one, and then I'll move the upper arm up, and suddenly I've got my old position back, and it took all of like 10 seconds. It's a very good tool. I'm very grateful that I learned that trick. Actually, I think he did something somewhat different. I don't remember. Anyway, I'm very glad that I know how to do this now, and hopefully everyone out there will also know how to do it and save themselves some time. Okay. Let's get rid of that rotation there. That sort of doesn't look so good. In fact, the whole positioning thing here is not quite what it should be. I think it's too much off to the side. Yeah, let's go to the curve editor. Yeah. That doesn't look good. Let's take a look at the animation. Here's a time when it might be good to change the interpolation there to smooth, even though that actually doesn't seem to be doing very much. Maybe I'll just change the keyframe then. So what does this interpolation stuff do? Well, basically, it's different ways that 3DS can do the in-between stuff for your keyframe. So for example, there's linear, and if I set it to linear, it just becomes linear. Yeah, shocking. But we don't want that. We don't want that there, because linear is usually not a very good thing. But there's all sorts of different things here that you can play with to make your animations look better, and probably when we're at the stage where I'm cleaning this up and making it look smoother and all that, we'll be going into that some more. Anyhow, let's continue working on this. Let's combine those there. Let's go back to well, I guess we can even go up to frame 60, since now we're just working on the end. Maybe I'll have the gun move a bit further out and up like that. I don't know, maybe it's a bit too extreme. I'm not sure. And here's, I think I talked about this before too. This is how I do the endings to my animations. I have one, well, I've got 2 frames that are a little bit before the actual default pose here. I've got one that's position only, and I move it down a little, and I've got one that's rotation only, and I rotate it down a little. And otherwise, they're the same as the default pose, but it's just one is position, one is rotation, and I make them both go down. And so far it's worked well for me. I don't know what'll happen to you. And now let's copy the arms, and let's also, we messed with the IK chain, so we probably want to copy that as well. And we also want to copy it for the upper arm there, and also the upper arm's IK chain. Don't forget to do this, because otherwise Halo is going to know. It's going to know about your laziness and your lies. It's going to make the end of the animation look really weird, and you're going to have fingers jumping all over the place. It's actually true. That's what happens. It's not very encouraging when you put your animation in game, and first thing you notice is that everything's going crazy. Speaking from experience here. Okay. Okay, so pulls it, it goes up, I think. Maybe it happens too slowly. Maybe it should come up a bit more. Maybe it should come back. Like that. I don't know. That something doesn't seem right about that, though. Maybe it's that it's moving up to, like it's moving up but slowly, yeah. I think I'll mess with the curve here. Let me see how that works. Now that's too much. I think maybe like this. Maybe it's also moving up too much. Let's go like that. And here I think I'm gonna put on smooth interpolation, just so I don't have to worry about these horrible tangent thingies here. That's what those do. Anyway, let's take a look at the whole animation now. First bit is definitely there's too much movement and then there's too little movement, and I think the magazine comes out too fast as well. The magazine in is, I think, better, but it's still not quite right, and the bolt pull is also not exactly what I want. But we can fix all this because this was just the first pass through the animation, and it's not even a good idea. It's like it should be a requirement that even though your animation is done, it's not done. You've just got the base movements down. You have to go back and fix stuff. Otherwise, your animation is going to look like crap, and people are going to be like, "Hey, your animation looks like crap," and then you're going to feel terrible. So let's clean some of this crap up. Yeah.